Hello, John Mitchell and I will discuss today, is it Paul George or bust for the 76ers?
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As I said, this is my right-hand man, John Mitchell. I'm Keith Pompey. We are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. Today, we want to talk to y'all about, is it Paul George or bust for the 76ers? And then, we also, since he's a former 76er, second segment, we'll talk a little bit about this JJ Redick appearing to be reportedly being the leading candidate for the Lakers job. But I want to give a shout out to Chris Haynes. We both know Chris Haynes. Chris Haynes was the guy who basically first reported it. He's not getting the credit, but he reported that last week. So give him a shout out. No, I'm not hating on anybody, but I just feel like that Chris Haynes isn't getting his just due. So
go
ahead, Chris.
You can relate to that. You've broken many stories, man. And people have acted like you didn't break it before.
Yeah, so. True, but it ain't about me today.
Yeah, I hear you,
man. It's about my Pitt Panthers, bruh. Yeah,
I see you.
Like, let me stop. I only play. And then the last one, I just want to talk about DeMar DeRozan a little bit, if we have time in the last segment, if that's okay with you. So, question, Mitch. So we talk about Paul George, right? PG. So it looks like it, and we'll talk more about this in the second segment, but it looks more and more like LeBron James is staying. They're doing everything in their power to keep LeBron. If not, they're going to have a lot of egg in their face if he leaves. It looks like they're about to hire JJ Redick. They done fired the one coach. They did a lot of things. So LeBron, you think he'll stay. The Jimmy Butler thing, is this going to be extremely tough to get Jimmy Butler? I don't think Miami is willing to trade him, right? Especially not to the Sixers. Right. Now, you look at it and then you say, okay, what about the Brandon Ingram thing? Look, Atlanta could be in play for him. You might think that Atlanta has better trade assets than the 76ers right now in regards to that. Like, they could give up the DeJounte Murray as a point guard. They also have the first overall pick. There's a lot of things that could happen, right? So then you look at Zach LaVine. You say, okay, he's a great fit, but realistically, Chicago really wants to get rid of that salary too. It's a guy who didn't even play a lot. I think he played like less than 30 games or last season. So you look at it, and it's like that's 150 still on the books. So when you say as far as competing, as far as contending, as far as doing all the stuff that the 76ers say they want to do next year, winning the championship, is it Paul George or bust, Mitch? Because let's face it, like if you don't get him, you might miss out on the guys that you want to really, really get.
Yeah, let's be honest. There's that top tier guys that they've looked at. LeBron James, we've all agreed that he's a perfect fit, even at 39. But again, with JJ Redick, his podcast buddy, now being considered for the coaching job. Jimmy Butler, Pat Riley, I think there's kind of people see it as a love-hate relationship. And I just think that, when they acquired him, they knew that Jimmy Butler can chirp and say some things that might make him, like when he was chirping about not being available. Had he been available, they might have advanced. That rubbed Pat Riley the wrong way because, he's kind of like, be available then, I think that Paul George, if you look at it, you have to, if you look at the chemistry of the Sixers, and right now it's Joel Embiid and we can say Tyrese Maxey, but you're in Joel Embiid's championship window, and you've been in his championship window for a minute. And you don't, after bowing out in the first round, after making it to the second round, you don't want to say we're not going to get the big fish that we've been hunting. We're big game hunting, and Paul George is your guy. And it's starting to look like that. Things aren't working out in LA. LA's sending they've already sent every signal that they're not going to give him that fourth year. The Sixers can give it to him. Paul George is saying that he wants to play for a champion. Why not come to look at a team with 2 All-Stars and say, this is my team. So it looks like this is my match. So again, as we always say and have been saying, it's time for Daryl Morey to really earn his keep. You got your extension. It's time for Daryl Morey to just kind of put the hammer down and to really prove that he's not all algorithms and fluff. He's got to prove that he can go out and get the guy and get this team out of its 41. I mean, they've been in a championship drought longer than the Hebrews were wandered in the wilderness, man. So I mean, let's just keep it real. So it's time for them to get out of the wilderness. It's time for him to be Moses and point the 76ers. And that's a double entendre because the last person who got him out of this rut was Moses. And it's time for him to go ahead and make something happen. So I think if you don't get Paul George, you start looking at the second tier players. And who knows, maybe it works out. But there are just so many contingencies. With a Paul George, you have a guy, multiple All-Star, still a very good defender, still shoots the three, and played a lot of games last year. So you can't come out of this free agency as a top 5 market and not get something. You just can't do it.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. The problem is, though, I think in the past when Daryl Morey did make some deals, like, for instance, when he made the deal for James Harden, when he got him from Houston and stuff like that, it was a time where he had better packages than anyone else, like better things to offer, right? Right about now, as much as I want to think these 5 first-round picks and $65 million in cap space is good, ideally is good, I don't know if it competes to other people in regards to making trades. Prime example, last night, and again, I'm reading, I'm on I got an alert on my phone, and I said, okay, let me read this. And I'm reading where the Houston Rockets are interested in Mikal Bridges, right? They're one of those guys. So Mikal, the guy we talked about.
Yeah.
Well, the Rockets have the 3rd overall pick in the draft. So it's kind of sort of like, now it's like, the Sixers got to have the 16th pick. So you got the 3rd and you got the 16th. So then you look at the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks have Trae Young to offer, which it seems like a lot of teams don't want him right now, maybe. But then you also have DeJounte Murray, and you also have the 1st overall pick. So it just seems like, I know what you're saying. I get you. It seems like, bro, you got to step up. You got to show us why you regarded as this guru, why you came here and you're making all this money. But it's kind of like his assets, although they sound good on paper, when you go up against other people, you realize you may not have as much. Even down to Cleveland. Cleveland has a huge decision to make. And you got Rich Paul saying, hey, look, if you guys give Donovan Mitchell that extension, Darius Garland, we want to move. So it's one of those things where if you're a team and you're like, okay, you sitting back, let me see what they do. If they give Donovan the extension, then I'm going to probably go after Darius. If they don't give Donovan the extension, we're going to go after Donovan. You understand what I'm saying? Like, like all the Sixers have is Joel, Maxey, Paul Reed, and Ricky Council IV, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, it just seems like stuff isn't as good as everybody think. But I'm with you. It could be in regards to like an impact player it could be whatchamacallit or bust in regards to an impact player, because I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know.
Keith, what is it? I mean, he's got those 5 first-round picks, man. You know, they have to have some value. You know what I mean? They have to have some value. You know, and we can talk about that maybe a little bit more when we get back. But right now, I want to talk to you about BetterHelp. You ever walk around at some point and just say, I've got something heavy on my mind, something you really want to get off your chest, something that's been bothering you, you can't shake it, you're in a funk? We all carry around different stressors. They can be big and they can be small. And when you keep them bottled up, it can really start to affect you negatively. And therapy is a safe place to get these things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. So if you're thinking about starting therapy and if you got something that's really got you down and people are asking you about, hey, brother, what's going on with you? Give BetterHelp a try. You know, it's entirely online. It's completely flexible. It's designed to be convenient, and it's suited for your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire, and you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So if you got to get it off your chest and get it out of your head, do it with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today.
All day, every day. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Did you see Stephen A. and Maya McNutt going at it like two barbarians? Do you have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single solitary day.
Every day. Let me stop. Hey, so look, I don't even know which one segment I want to go to, because I feel like we should talk about DeMar DeRozan a little bit right now over JJ Redick, just because of we talking about championship. I mean, Paul George or bust. So here's the deal, Mitch. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, and I apologize for getting out of order, right?
All right.
So when you look at DeMar DeRozan, right? You know, DeMar DeRozan is a multi-time all-star, an elite player in his own right. Now, the thing about DeMar is DeMar's been in the league for 15 years. I mean, he's 34 years old. Wow, that's crazy, because I remember
when he was in high school with Watts or something.
Compton. He went to Compton High. Now, so here's the deal. The reason why it's crazy is because I remember that they played in Delaware County.
Wow.
That when he was a senior in high school, they played American Christian. And I went to cover that game.
Oh, that was the brother from Chester played for them.
Yeah, Tyreke Evans.
Tyreke Evans.
I remember that, man. It was crazy because they all had on these powder blue unis, this team. And I was like, yo, but it was crazy because that was like, it was an underhyped game, like way underhyped. Like, meaning like they played them at kind of sort of like a rec center, dude.
Wow.
Like in Aston, PA. Like, dude, it was like no one there. Like, it was crazy. And to have 2 lottery picks, 2 years later, playing, you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy.
Were they both first year All-Americans that year?
Yeah, they both were. Like, yeah, he was ranked. He was the 5th guy in the class, talking about DeMar DeRozan. And Tyreke Evans was nicknamed, not nicknamed. He was regarded as the the best point guard in the country. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was a crazy underhyped game. Underhyped. The thing is, so he's from Compton, right? We talk about it. His career average, he's a DeMar DeRozan is a 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. He's a 6'6", 220-pound wing. He has career averages of 21 points, 4.4 rebounds, 4.1 assists. Now, the analytics people can't stand him because he doesn't shoot the three.
The three, yeah.
So he shoots his career average for threes or 29.6%, right? Now, the thing about DeMar DeRozan is that, of all the players, he's probably the most affordable, right? The reason why I'm saying that is because this past season he made $27.3 million. So if you would get DeMar DeRozan and you compare what he made, Zach LaVine last year made 37.1, and Anthony Davis made 38 million. So we're talking about this guy is cheaper than them. You can go ahead and get him and get another guy.
Yeah.
Another guy for cheap, right? Yeah. So he doesn't get the full max. So you can get him, you can get another person. Well, I take that back. He made 28.6 million. He made 27.3 the year before, but he made 28.6. So you look at it, you're saying to yourself, he's 35. I can probably give him about the same and he'll be happy, right? I mean, you think that, like, you know what I mean? Or maybe you can give him a little bit more, but it's a whole lot cheaper than giving Paul George $50 million.
Yeah.
A whole lot cheaper than giving someone else 45 or 38. How do you feel about DeMar?
Well, I've always liked his game. And what I do like about him, because I'm not the biggest fan of analytics. I think they take too many threes in today's game anyway. But if you look at it, like the guys his age, I run off these numbers: 79, 74, 76, 61, 68, 77, 80, 74, 78. Those are the number of games that he started. One thing about DeMar DeRozan, we do know, unlike everybody else, DeMar DeRozan is going to be there. And because he's been in that weird situation with Chicago, where every year for the past 3 years, they're talking about trading somebody. They can't seem to figure out in Chicago whether they're going to be a playoff team or a lottery team. They seem to be in that limbo. But over the last 3 years, 27.9, 24.5, 24 points per game. He is a guy that gives you production. And I think you can find and you can search out that guy who can, you can find guys with lesser money who can make that 3-point shot. But he's a guy when Joel Embiid has to get that blow for however many games it's going to be, you can't, if he's out there with Tyrese, then you can't bomb Tyrese. They can't bum rush him and take away his effectiveness, because if they do, you can get a guy, DeMar, you can get him in action. So he's there. Is he probably a step down? Yes, because, when we do talk about Paul George, we do like the three. We do like the fact that he can make that three. And he's probably a better defender. And he seems to be a better fit in this era of positionless basketball. But, if you can get them on the cheap, they have to be mindful of their money. They just can't go out there loosey-goosey with their money. Can't do it.
Now, here's the thing about making the three, right? When we look at Jimmy Butler isn't exactly like scorching the nets when you hit threes. Now, he hits clutch threes when he has to, right?
Yeah.
But then you also figure it out, so let's just say if you have DeMar DeRozan in the starting lineup and you're able to get another bench player. So let's just say your starting lineup is Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre at the 2 if you bring him back. Kelly can hit the 3.
Mm-hmm.
DeMar DeRozan at the small forward, Nico Batum at the 4. Nico can hit the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Joel Embiid at the 5. So when you have all those type of guys who can hit the 3, including Maxey and Embiid, is that really a problem? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, when we think about that, because, Jimmy, as much as we like, and I get it. I'm just saying, like, but a lot of people we love to talk about he can't do this, he can't do that. It won't fit in well. It doesn't But most teams don't have centers who can hit threes.
Right.
So he you know what I mean? Like,
right.
But one thing we do know is he can crash the boards. He can drive the lane. He has a will to win. So, you know what I mean? To me, that's just something to basically look into.
Hey, and you know what? If the Sixers are going to raid, if they do wind up with DeMar DeRozan, then let's figure out some way to get Andre Drummond here. So we figure out the best. Let's do some things with Chicago if that's possible.
Yeah, I mean you can get 3 players. Yeah, 3 players.
So you solve that backup center situation, and we can talk about that a little bit more. That. And maybe the JJ Redick, former 76er, becoming the apple of the Los Angeles Lakers' eye at the coaching position. But right now, let's talk about FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today.
Do it till the fluid gets hot.
Yeah, you got, huh? Yeah. I don't even, do it till the fluid gets hot. Like, yo. No comment. Let me stop. No follow up. Let me stop.
Hey.
Let me stop. Yo, that sound like your boy Akbar. Yo, but anyway, when we talk about JJ Redick, right? And JJ was here for a couple of seasons. I mean, JJ was a good player here, a good fit. They messed up by not bringing him back.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he was getting a little older, but I felt like they messed up by not bringing that whole lineup back, like JJ, Jimmy.
Well,
yeah. So,
but just not to cut you up, it seemed like both of those guys mentally were checked out of what was going on in the Sixers front office.
Yeah, but see, the problem is, this is where, and I love Brett Brown, but this is where they messed up. They should have made, because the thing is, they were talking about they were going to make a coaching change.
Right.
And I felt like if they would have made a coaching change, things would have been different. Like, I think so. Like, somebody had to go. But what they did is they let the players go. And I think the reason why they let the players go is based off the way they lost. Right. Like, I feel like if they would have lost and they were blown out, Brett would have been gone. But the way they lost was, if we're going to be real, it was like a 4 bounce. I ain't going to say a luck shot, but it was like
preceded by a travel.
Yeah, preceded by a travel. So it was one of those where, like, heck, he coached his tail off, this and that. But not to say that JJ had a problem with Brett. I just feel like when you make changes like that, things happen. And I don't know if they were really checked out with the front. Oh, I think the major problem is just that they just wanted to go in a different direction. Like I think, sometimes you make bad mistakes where you forget that how hard it is to get there. And I think they thought that, kind of like somebody told me when they got rid of Drew Holiday, great point guard. No, point guards come a dime a dozen. The Sixers have not had a point guard like Drew Holiday since. And, JJ Redick, they've been trying to get shooters to go like him and play like him since. And they had a little bit of success with some of them, but they got rid of all of them. So, and they still looking for one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the crazy part. But, when we look at the JJ situation, to me, it's more or less they doing everything in their power to keep LeBron here.
Yeah.
The crazy part is like they say that they're intrigued by JJ in his mind. And I like JJ as a person, great guy, great guy to talk to, this and that. But it's weird to me that an organization, and no offense to JJ or anybody else, but an organization like the Lakers, where it's all about winning now, that you keep, you're going after a guy who's a coach who's never coached before, like on any level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Now, he might have coached a rec league or something like that and just to have fun. But it's like y'all just turning over the keys. And to me, this is just so you can keep LeBron James happy.
Right.
But we're talking about, whoa, it's kind of like, no offense, man. It's kind of like giving a third down back for the Dallas Cowboys or the Eagles or Charlie Garner. It's kind of like Charlie Garner playing for the Eagles back in the day. He retires after a couple of years and like, hey, Charlie,
the coach.
We got a championship team for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Come on, Charlie. You're gonna be our coach, right?
Be our head coach. Yeah.
You're gonna be our head coach. Yeah. I mean, and that's what it's like.
Yeah, it's sometimes you look at professional sports in general, and not just the Lakers situation, and it seems like they are getting down the road, and that probably is an appeal to keep LeBron there. But you just wonder how certain guys get that magic pixie dust sprinkled on them that says, "Hey, this guy right here, we think he's got this beautiful mind," and certain people get that benefit of the doubt. And certain people never get that benefit of the doubt. JJ Redick is a Duke guy, so and he is a smart guy, but I don't know that qualifies him to be an NBA coach of the league's premier organization. It's like how do you just get out of the broadcast booth ticket and go to the very front of the line? It happened to Steve Kerr. Same thing happened to Steve Kerr. We know it happens for some people. We know completely and utterly it does not happen for others. But it just somebody looking for drama. It almost has me thinking that suppose they do bring back they do hire him, and the Sixers do use a 16th pick on LeBron's son. What happens then?
Yeah, I know, right?
What happens then?
Then they're going to trade him as the assistant. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably one of those. See, that crazy part is the fact that they didn't announce it yet.
Yeah.
Yo, LeBron, this is what we really trying to do.
Yeah.
Do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This whole thing is crazy. Like, I feel like the fact that stuff is getting leaked out there is probably to let people know, like, you can draft LeBron's son if you want to. Don't do it. We got our man. We got our coach. LeBron will probably stay. This and that. He'll get that deal. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like personally. I don't feel like I don't know. I don't feel like LeBron's going anywhere. It's starting
to feel that way.
Yeah, and the thing about the whole JJ thing is, you wish him a lot of luck, but it's crazy. I feel bad for a guy like Sam Cassell. Like, Sam Cassell is on pace
coach
to win his fourth NBA title. First as an assistant. The other 3 came as a player. 2 in Houston. And his last year, he had him booked in his last year as a player with the Boston Celtics. And then he's been a journeyman coach, like you said, a guy that was well respected in Philly. Heck, we can say he had a big hand in Tyrese Maxey's development.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can say that, right? Absolutely. He had a big hand in John Wall's development. After he left, John Wall kind of career, went this way.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things. And, you know, it's funny. It's kind of like they keep interviewing him just so they can say they interviewed somebody. But you kind of always figure he ain't going to get the job. So
it's almost like their version of the Rooney Rule with Sam.
That's what it's like. Yeah. Oh, we got it. And like, the Sam, everybody cool with Sam. Let's interview
and everybody
Sam.
does love Sam. When he was assistant coach in Washington when I was covering him there.
Yep.
Ernie Grunfeld always spoke highly of him on the record and off the record.
Players respect him.
Yep. But
I don't know.
When is the primo? And I'd like to hear somebody like maybe, Charles Barkley and Shaquille and those guys on their platform take that up.
Yeah, I mean, we have to wait. We'll have to wait for that.
But if JJ gets the job, I wish him all the best.
Yeah, I do too. But
I wish him all the best.
It must be life is good.
Life is good.
Life is good. But hey, y'all, we want to thank y'all for listening. But before we go, we want to talk to you guys about Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channel app. So for us, we want to say happy, what's the day? Wednesday, man. Happy hump day. Happy hump day. And enjoy this day and enjoy the rest of the week. Deuces. Peace.
Enjoy your day, folks.